Hey guys, welcome back to Owo's Corner, and in today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about my sort of animation process that I go through. And today you are going to be watching some more footage of me working on my personal project, my animation, and I'll be going into how I do it. So first off, I like to start off with a concept, an idea, what pretty much what I want to do with my animation. So real quick, I will get the sort of spark notes of my characters, just who they are, their personality, what they're doing and why, a bit of backstory of where they're from. And then after that, I'll go into a storyboarding phase or a rough storyboarding phase. When I'm storyboarding, I sort of keep it loose because I have a bad habit of changing halfway through because I either don't like how it turns out or I might come up with some split second change. So after my rough storyboarding, my loose storyboarding, I do my first hand. And the first hand is sort of the rough draft of art. It's like a rough sketch. When you're doing your first hand, you're just getting the idea of the movement. And so what you'll be doing is you'll be going to the keyframes. So you'll go from one motion, then you'll shift over to a different motion, a different pose. And I will just do a set of different poses, and then I'll go back a second time. This is still my first hand, and then I'll in between it. So after my first hand comes my character art. And character art and your first hand is usually interchangeable. For me, it depends because sometimes I like to plan out what my characters are doing first, and then I like to jot out a design for them. Other times I like to design them and then plan what they're doing. It's really interchangeable and it really depends on the person because depending on how you design your characters, how your characters are drawn, it dictates how then you can go about your animation and how you animate it. Because with how you animate it, how you draw your character, you may or may not face certain restrictions with then grafting that character onto your first hand, onto your sort of primary poses and your rough sketches. So after that, I then like to do my second hand. My second hand is when I really go into adding detail to my characters, my first hand. So I'll try to adapt my character art and my characters to the motions and poses that I've already drawn. So I'll add noses, I'll add eyes, I'll add clothes, I'll add a bunch of different stuff. If I did some effects or if I did some motions or some particles in my first hand, I will then go in my second hand and I will add more to it. I will add more details to it. The second step is my third hand. That is additional in betweening. So going in between frames to get an even more seamless motion and as well as additional edits. So that's going in a second time, a second revisory time to add any more details that you have missed, any more aspects that you want to add to really get a seamless and flowing animation. And that's gonna usually be, depending on the person, either your shortest or longest phase, depending on how much time you've spent in the previous steps. La- and in your third hand, you're also going to be figuring out where you can sort of separate certain objects, because you're not going to have your nose and your eyes on the same layer as your arm, and you're not going to have your main body, the core of your character, on the same layer as your legs. In animation, we like to separate different portions and segments so that it is easier for us to tween and to animate, just for the sake of time and for the sake of effort. So your third hand is really when you're going to be distributing your stuff, making it more seamless and more well thought out, and adding more details. After that, just before you get to your end, you're going to be doing your final line art. And that's really when you hammer it home and you make it look presentable and you make your outlines look nice. Then, next after that, is going to be coloring. And coloring, in my opinion, coloring is probably the easiest because everything else is already done. You're just going in and adding color and making it look more presentable and look more put together. And you're putting things in certain places. You're also maybe hiding some stuff, like hiding the fact that your arm is not connected to your hand. And that goes into character design again, sort of figuring out where things are. And then after coloring, there is a sort of secondary revision or editing phase where you are watching your animation closely, making sure it is seamless, making sure that the layers are together, that everything is in order, that the correct layers are on top or below each other, that the correct keyframes are cued in, and that there is no clipping or no random shifting between frames. You are making sure that everything is spaced out and it's happening in a timely manner where you want it to happen. That's about it for me. That's my personal process. And then it's very strenuous work, it's very detail oriented, and you have to pay attention to detail. It is a very arduous and very time consuming activity, but I love it. I love animating. I just feel so alive whenever I'm sitting at my laptop for hours on end working on a short snippet. But yes, this was my process in animating, how I do it. I'm still working on my animation for you guys. I'm still on my first hand because there's just so much stuff I want to do. And yeah, that's just about it. Keep working, keep doing what you're doing, keep drawing. You'll get there eventually. I don't even think I've gotten there yet, but I'm still working, I'm still trying. And yeah, that was it for Obo's Corner. See you guys in my next one. Bye.